Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to talk about a recent and pretty surprising idea making waves in the research world. What if academics were only allowed to publish one paper per year? Sounds extreme, right? But imagine this. You're a researcher, working long nights in the lab, fueled by coffee and deadlines. Just as you submit one paper, the pressure's already on to start the next. Now picture a world where you could focus all that energy on one single high-quality study each year. Would that be liberating? Or career-ending? Let's dive in. Imagine you're a university researcher. Every morning, you're greeted not by a fresh cup of coffee, but by a blinking inbox full of journal submissions, reviewer requests, and the relentless reminder, publish or perish. Now, what if someone said, stop, one paper a year is enough? Harsh. Brilliant? Controversial? That's what researchers are asking, and we need to talk about it. Today, we're unpacking a bold and somewhat eyebrow-raising idea. Some researchers are now suggesting that academics should be limited to just one publication per year, or maybe even one every 2 years. Yep, you heard that right. This is from CFIET, a real proposal that is emerging as academics grapple with the overwhelming volume of research being shoved into journals daily. So, what's the big issue here? Well, in academia, there's this pressure called publish or perish, and trust me, it's exactly as stressful as it sounds. Let's face it, academia has long been stuck in the publish or perish grind. The pressure to constantly churn out papers can mean quantity over quality, everyone racing to hit the numbers. There's real worry this flood of publications is drowning meaningful science. A recent Guardian piece highlighted how peer reviewers alone logged more than 1.5 billion worth of unpaid labor in 2020. Not to mention, journals and OpenAccess business models have escalated the push for volume, sometimes at the expense of rigor and reliability. Now here is the idea that has got people talking. Some researchers are saying we should slow things down and limit everyone to just one paper a year. Maybe even one every 2 years. In this context, a group of researchers is suggesting something radical. Limit academic publishing to one paper per person, per year, or even one every 2 years. At first glance, it sounds drastic, but think about it. What if this pause invites deeper, more impactful research? What if it frees up time for rigorous peer review, collaboration, or yes, even the forgotten art of teaching and mentoring? Let's start with the good side of this. Fewer papers could actually mean better science. Less pressure might mean more thoughtful science, not just ticking boxes. It could reduce salamislicing, the practice of breaking one big study into several minimal publishable units. Peer reviewers might no longer be overwhelmed. Review quality could improve dramatically. Quality over quantity could renew trust in academic publishing and reduce supply of low-value, redundant work. But of course, it's not all sunshine. There are some real downsides we need to think about. On the flip side, slower publication could hurt early career researchers who need to build CVs quickly. Funding bodies and tenure committees often evaluate based on publication count. This system would need an overhaul. And yes, such a limit could stifle fast-moving fields or collaborative teams that rely on frequent paper output. Let me give you an example. You might relate to this if you've worked in research. Imagine Dr. Silva, a mid-career researcher. She finally has headspace for a truly innovative project, but under today's metrics, one big paper might not cut it for promotion. Meanwhile, Dr. Costa burns out trying to publish minimally acceptable work just to stay visible. Under the new rule, both might benefit. Silva gets the time for brilliance, Costa doesn't have to sprint suicidally fast. So what do you think? Is this genius or a disaster waiting to happen? This proposal is bold, maybe necessary. It certainly jolts us into rethinking how we define success. Is moving slower a luxury, a solution, or a disservice? Let me know in the comments. Would you support a one paper a year rule? Why or why not? If you found this idea intriguing, hit like, subscribe, and share. Let's spark the conversation. Alright, that's all for today's discussion. By the way, the Royal Society is gearing up to review the state of scientific publishing later this summer, so who knows, maybe conversations like ours could actually influence real change. Stay curious, stay bold, and I'll see you in the next one.